First of all, I just want to start off by saying thank you, God. I'm listening to these perps next door trying to cover up and negate the reality of what they're part of. As a target individual, I heard enough testimonial to understand what is happening to us, target individual. I obviously know what I'm dealing with at these points, but I understand who is impacting. I understand the perps around me, what their job is supposed to be doing. They're supposed to camouflage the atrocities so I can subscribe to these personas they try to make me accept, internalize via the way they manipulate my brain. When I say thank you, God, it's just I thank God I'm not one of those low life. The participation is very easy, it's very facilitated, and they utilize a lot of teenage trash where their whole identity is based on what they get out of being involved in this. I can tell, and it makes sense why this governmental program will utilize a lot of teenage low life. As a non-adult, you don't have life. You don't have a lot of things going on in your life, right? So to be involved in such a advanced level of technology and global program, you can only imagine how intoxicating it is for them. So this trash are living life day in and day out to do what needs to be done for the program. And I've heard all the I'm listening to the testimonials, and there's a lot of common similarity in regard to the perps. Other target individuals are calling out the fact there's a lot of teenage trash. And there's tactics of camouflaging the atrocities of what this program is because they're trying to make you accept the false reality. It's like an alter reality where they want you to be subscriptive to. And at this point, for me, they've been really, really dismantled in regard of the facade, to the point where my rage will surpass the games. Right now, as I'm about to make this video, the teenager next door are doing what they need to do to just reverse back to this fantasized reality where there's some justice seekers, protectors, and they're making me pay. When in reality, this trash are involved in atrocities that they're so aware of that they're putting so much effort to cover that up, which is impossible. I was listening to testimonials where I just went on to like this Gemini AI, ChatGPT, that can pull up all the testimonials from different target individual. And I was like, give an example of a target individual claiming they're getting raped or this and that, and they're seeing the children, and they'll bring up all the different testimonials from women or men that have mentioned some kind of torture, from their personal torture that's psychological and physical, and also observing children being tortured. And because this kind of ChatGPT AI, it speed up the process. You don't have to look it up yourself and this and that. No, this is what technology can do. It can scrape the whole internet and find, okay, there's testimonials, and there's a lot of testimonials of children being tortured via this technology, which destroyed this nastiness in front of me, doing everything possible to cover the atrocities that they've been part of. Piece of shit involved in a program where they torture children as young as 4-year-olds sexually, and hearing these disgusting testimonials. Want me to let them live in the fantasized reality where they joined this thing. They clearly know what it does, and they love to be involved in that. They enjoy it so much. It's fun, especially this teenage trash. Oh my gosh, they gamify it all. It's fun for them to be able to cover up this thing and be like, yeah, now you pay. Involved in a program where they're making children pay in this fashion. So for me, if I become a martyr to make sure that this thing doesn't happen that way, there's no problem. Let this teenage trash become martyr to cover up the horror, the atrocities they're part of. They think I'm going to have this regress mind, thinking that after all of these horrible things I'm hearing, I'm going to let them live the fantasy. Me? Allowing that? They get frustrated. Not too long ago, I opened my door and I was blasting a woman describing some of the disgusting, horrible things she saw her child experience, and even finding burn marks on the genitals of their children. Because this testimonial really indicate the level of foulness these people are part of. One of these teenage trash was that close to just try to gaslight me. And I begged them to try to do that. Because their whole identity is based on playing this fantasized reality where they're just making me pay. But when you expose the reality that they will never be able to cover up, and how they involve in something where children are burned in this way, and these clowns try to, you know how a child, this teenage shit become like so like they lose their mind, because the little fantasy they wanted to build in is this bubble is burst like no tomorrow. Then hearing the mental tortures that they do. Listen, not only in this program they torture women and children, but there is a tactics. All they do, this program is meant to break people down psychological. This is like a program where they're developing technology that can attack the mind and the body, but also learn the best tactics to psychologically break somebody down. It's like it continuously improves on how to break somebody down, how to psychologically destroy somebody mentally, psychologically, physically, to basically create the ultimate weapon system. So some of the tactics to psychologically break down some women or men or parents is as they harm the child via this technology that can hit them, direct energy weapon. That is meant to harm the woman or the man or the parents psychologically. So they just don't harm these children just for the sake of harming children. No. It's more sinister than that. They do that to harm the women or the children, or the women or the men, the parents. Because imagine psychologically how helpless you feel if you're a parent, right, and you care about your child, and you see your child just like grabbing their private part in pain and looking at you. And you know that this is happening not because it's some kind of regular thing happening here, but there is something that's targeting your child in this fashion. They do that, but on top of that, to make sure that the target individual knows, hey, we're doing that to you, they use this teenage trash to be visible and start laughing and mocking and doing things like to mock them and just like do some pelvic movements like, oh, and so this testimony of women, just they look outside and they see the teenagers just like laughing and showing like the pain, and then next to them some kind of mother showing that the whole community is okay with what's happening to you and your child. And this is happening often in a lot of what's happening to us target individual. But I understand what they're trying to do here. You understand the psychological torture here is massive. Now I have these fuckers involved in this program who even think that this little bubble of fantasy, they're like, no, pay for what you did as a child, you're paid, that's the abuse. They are here torturing children in this fashion, abusing them in this fashion, and they think they're childish, and they use children like individuals purposely because they think they're regress ways of thinking. It's gonna be contagious enough. Or I should be like acceptive that, you know, we're just too childlike to think of how we're cooking children's private parts. And they expect me to have this understanding for their immaturity. Oh, good Lord. When I know that this maturity is weaponized, hoping it's going to be contagious. Thinking the reason they're acting this way is just this. No. They know very well. They know very well what they're part of. They just want me to just let them live their fantasy. I don't care if they come in shape of like teenage trash or some grown-ass woman who just so daring that she get involved in a program where children younger than her kids are being cooked like that. Or some entitled fucking trash who's so enraged that she get involved in a program where they do this burning of disgustingness. And then the sexual torture is one thing, but then the psychological torture. That they do these things. Listen, that's That is the most disgusting for me, that just disturbed me. They thought, and they have this game with me that is so childlike, but a childlike act that can cause a life. They expect the target individual to stoop to a level of stupidity that is surreal. Now, testimonials of what is happening to target individual is everywhere. Women, men, parents, all kind of say the similar things that can show exactly. Listen, you do the things that matches with others. The way you manipulate me can be matched by another testimonial that said the exact same thing. Matter of fact, it's some of them even more drastic. Because listen, I'm by myself. I'm suffering here by myself. This disgusting psychological aspect of torturing me. I can isolate myself and never have to deal with this. But I'm still being manipulated this way. They do the same thing to parents. When I talk about the pedophilia type of torture, when you look at the parents that are forced to get this nasty manipulation, is the worst, because they do this toward their children. They manipulate target with children to have sexual arousals toward their own children. Multiple testimonials of parents that are being psychologically tortured that way can be discovered. One that just came up, and that was that I found is, obviously, can you imagine as a mother also you're forced to get sexual arousal to your own child? A woman described that as a target individual. Her child comes running at her with a drawing. As soon as the child comes, they force it. Me telling the story, they stimulate me, by the way. But at least me is just what they make me imagine is stimulating me. She deals with that in real time with seeing her child. They start forcing her such an intense stimulation that the child comes and starts to show something, and she's so disturbed by how they manipulate her. She pushes the child away, runs to the bathroom, and starts crying. And these testimonials come often, right? So it's not just one or two. This is common. Other women just dealing with it, try to restrain themselves because they get getting this stimulation, this pulse in the private parts, because they manipulate them to have these experiences when they're children. And women saying they even forcing me to have this sensation to using their own children in this fashion, meaning that they're forcing the target individual to have sexual stimulation to their own children. These are not one or two here. It's a common thing they do. Now, I'm somebody who's listening to that a lot. Then imagine seeing some trashy teenagers involved in that, thinking that we're gonna act the way we want to act in this, just rage, and we're gonna block out this. It's I promise, for the soul of all these mothers, all these children, from the sufferings that are sexual, the sufferings that are psychological, all of that, I will not let them live. These clowns, these trashy, or think that life is like that. You sign up for this. You know what you're part of. Now you're going to deal with that. When you face me, and you think that you were able to paint your fantasy where you're some justice seekers in a program where they even force mothers to have sexual arousals toward their own children. When sexual tortures and things like that, and they call out how the community, the neighbors, people around are partaking in this. And you think that your retardation is contagious enough for me to not see how this is pairing with something else. How you guys are doing the same thing as everybody else. While they try to be no, with us, well, we're matching, and because we're a different setup, we're the same setup, and try to differentiate themselves from as if this is something else. Well, you clearly see, okay, it doesn't take a genius to see what's happening here. Matter of fact, they want me to become almost mentally retarded to not be able to see the obviousness of what's happening here. They have a system. They have tactics. It's clear what they do. It's clear what's the goal here. It's clear that they do this disgusting manipulation, but not only they do that, they try to make the target individual internalize these things. I mean, even the women who've been manipulating this way are saying that as a woman, other women participate. And when they force me to get sexual arousals, a woman would try to gaslight her to internalize, like it's okay, you just, and like she will have this stimulation when her child passed by, and she like try to restrain it, and the female perp, who she thought was a friend, starts saying it's okay, just just admit it's just okay. It's to make her internalize this manipulation as if it's natural. Random people, perps, that look friendly and nice, which for me, I've said that a lot. This is like a facade. I'm supposed to think, oh, there's a bunch of like mother-looking people, nurturer-looking individual participating. That's like, oh my gosh, how can I? When women say, I was at the grocery store and they forced me, I get this disgusting experience and sensation, just like straight in my genitals as a woman. And it's just, she's trying to hold herself. And just a nice lady who the target manager calls as like a woman that looks like everybody's auntie. Right? You can tell, you can see what, like very like comments like, oh, you have a beautiful child. I think the child can tell the bad energy you have. I think you should go and pray about it. You know, what she's trying to do is like, oh, it's you, so just go pray about it. When they know exactly, they're forcing this woman to have this experience and try to use these tactical ways of just trying to make the target manager internalize this. Everything. Listen, it doesn't take a genius. It's just a lot of efforts around me to try to gaslight me to think that, oh, we're just not doing that. As obvious as even women with children, their own children. Like, okay, no, we're just matching and mapping. It's so disgusting. And then these teenagers are known to be this trashy shit. And not only just teenagers, this young adult, it's all this. It's so nasty. They'll try to negate that by bringing up all the other things. In this program, they have these tactics of painting the target image in this way. It's so obvious that even mothers are forced to have sexual arousal toward their own children. But for me, they're like, oh, but this teenager, there's like trash. As you do that to women toward their own babies. I mean, what other validation can one have that you clearly have this? And you think I'm gonna have that? And they try to put things together and all that. They'll make me think of so there's a video I made a while ago about being bumped before August 19, 2019. I remember walking like in the middle of like, if you don't know New York, there's a place called Harlem. It's like 125th and Lexington, and it's a very like busy place, but it's also very let's just say the people that live there are either, you know, Black, Hispanic, and there's also a university not too far, so there's college students and young professional that lives there, right, from different races, obviously. And so I remember walking to like this very busy place, like in like very urban environments, and boom, I get like somebody comes out and hits my shoulder accidentally, and I look at her